Today I will be discussing with y'all the top 10 Disney villains. Now this is my personal opinion on the top 10 Disney villains, so sit back and enjoy. First up on my list is Maleficent. Maleficent, it was the villain in Sleeping Beauty, and she cursed a little Princess Aurora, I think I pronounced that wrong, to prick her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel and die after she was not invited to the christening. Therefore, I have her at number 10. Number 9 is the evil queen from Snow White, and as many of you may know, the story behind her, she ordered the huntsman to go and kill Snow White and bring her back her heart. And instead of doing that, he let her live, so the evil queen decided to give her a poison apple that would put her to sleep for a very long time. 8th on my list is Cruella De Vil. Now, I have her on here. She's in 101 Dalmatians. And for those of you who are not familiar with the story, which I'm sure most of y'all are if you're watching this video, but she basically was stealing puppies and making fur coats out of them. And also, a little interesting fact about her name that most people are not aware of. Cruella De Vil actually translates to the cruel devil. Because if you write down the name, and then you take the Spanish translation for the word la, L-A, and you put that in front of cruel, then you take and you put her last name together and just say it like it translates out to the cruel devil. So I thought that was an interesting fact to include. No Disney villain countdown would not be complete without one of the villains in one of my most favorite Disney movies of all time is Ursula. She comes in at number 7. She is also the villain in The Little Mermaid. And there she is a sea witch. Yeah, she was a sea witch. And she makes a deal with Ariel to, make her human, but she ends up going back on her word, and then there's like this huge fight. She really wants King Triton. I think you said his name right. It's been a long time since I saw the movie, but she definitely comes in at number 7. Number 6 on my list is Captain Hook. He is the Disney villain in Peter Pan, and was always fighting Peter Pan. So yeah, depending on which version of Captain Hook you've watched, depends on exactly what he's done. That makes him one of the top villains. So he comes in at number 6. At number 5, we have the evil stepmother from Cinderella. She pretty much enslaved her stepdaughter and made her stepdaughter their maid. Number 4 on my list is Hans from Frozen. The reason why I have him on this list is because he's one of those characters that when you first see him, you have no idea that he's going to be a villain. I mean, Disney, they made him handsome, he seems so sweet, even a gorgeous song he sings with Anna. So, he's just one of those characters where you wouldn't expect him to be a villain. It didn't dawn on me right away that he was one. And I think that he had the potential to be even more dangerous just because we didn't know he was a villain. Number 3 on my list is Scar. And the reason why I'm including Scar so high up in the list, he would be down in the bottom, but every time, ever since I've become an adult, for some strange odd reason, when he kills Mufasa, even though I know it's coming, I cry. It's the only movie that can actually get me to cry as an adult. Really. It's really sad and heartbreaking. But I do have Scar up there on as number 3. Number 2 on my list is Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. With him, he's conceited and just really not an all around good guy. He was also very jealous, I think, because of how Belle fell for the Beast. And that's why he went there. That's just my personal thoughts. But what really made him a villain in my eyes is the fact that he locked up Belle's father to try and force her hand to marry him. And that's really not cool to me. Number 1 on my list is Mother Gothel. Now, even though she is not my favorite villain of all the ones that I mentioned, I put her at number 1 because what she did is exactly what happens today. I mean, you see people being kidnapped all over the place and held for years. So that's why I have her up at number 1. Because she kidnapped Rapunzel and kept her locked away in the tower so nobody would suspect that, her daughter was Rapunzel. Rapunzel ended up figuring it out, but that's beside the point.